Hello, everyone. Today, I want to chat with you about something that's probably very familiar, right there on our dinner plates: fish. Maybe, like me, you've always believed that fish is a real friend to our health, especially as we get a little older. We hear about those omega-3s being good for our hearts, our memory, keeping us sharp. And most of the time, that's spot on. A nice piece of grilled fish, a comforting fish soup. Just thinking about it sounds tasty and nutritious, doesn't it? But life always has a few surprises, and sometimes the friends we think are the best might have some unexpected concerns. In my years of looking into health and nutrition for older adults, I've come across some interesting things that might make you think twice about some of the fish we eat regularly. Think of it this way. When we're younger, our bodies are like strong filtering machines, able to handle and get rid of the not-so-good stuff pretty easily. But as time goes by, that machine might slow down a bit. Our liver and kidneys need a little more TLC. And that means we can become more sensitive to things we don't want, like mercury or some other heavy metals, which can sometimes be hiding in the very foods we believe are good for us. I don't want to cause any alarm, but I do want to share what I've learned, just like a friend having a chat over a cup of coffee. Because if you or your loved ones are in your 60s or beyond, this information could really help protect your long-term health. Today, I want to tell you about a few friends in the fish world that we might want to keep a little distance from, or at least understand them better. This isn't just hearsay, folks. It comes from scientific studies, real-life stories I've heard, and the careful advice of nutrition experts. First off, let's talk about king mackerel. A lot of us have probably enjoyed its rich, flavorful taste. But you know what? King mackerel can have a pretty high level of mercury, and this isn't the harmless kind, it's methylmercury. Scientists have shown that methylmercury can easily cross into our brains, build up, and cause damage to our delicate nerve cells. If this information is helpful to you, and you'd like to keep getting similar insights on senior health, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button for our channel. As we get older, our nervous system can become more sensitive than ever. So, over time, regularly eating king mackerel might quietly affect our memory, our balance, and even be linked to changes in our mood, making us feel a bit more anxious or down. Instead of worrying, we can absolutely choose other seafood that's safer and still delicious, like Atlantic mackerel. It has much lower mercury levels and is still a great source of those valuable omega-3s for our heart and brain health. Next on our list of sea buddies we need to understand better is swordfish. With its firm, tasty meat, it often shows up at fancy seafood restaurants. But that appealing exterior hides something you might not know. Just like king mackerel, swordfish is a big predator at the top of the ocean food chain. That means over its long life, it eats tons of smaller fish, and a significant amount of mercury builds up in its body. When we enjoy swordfish, even now and then, we're also taking in a fair amount of mercury. Over time, this buildup can negatively affect our memory, our reaction time, and might even worsen existing nerve problems in some older adults. To protect our health, we can definitely find other safer options that are still tasty and nutritious, like wild salmon, with its vibrant color and rich in omega-3s, or tender trout, or even clean farmed tilapia, a good source of lean protein that's easy on the stomach. Now let's talk about a fish that's very common, especially in those quick service meals: Atlantic cod. That's the fish in our beloved fish and chips. But you know, there are a couple of things we need to consider, especially as our health and the well-being of our environment become more important than ever. First, wild Atlantic cod populations have faced serious overfishing for decades. This not only threatens the survival of these fish, but also has a big impact on the ocean's ecosystem. By continuing to eat it, we might unknowingly be contributing to that imbalance. Second, wild cod itself has a relatively high level of sodium, salt, and often, to add flavor or preserve it, cod is salted, smoked, or battered and fried. These preparations add even more salt to what we're eating. For us older folks, too much sodium can cause problems with blood pressure and put extra strain on our heart and kidneys. So, instead of Atlantic cod, we can look at more sustainable choices, managed with more responsibility, like flounder with its mild, white meat, or haddock, a close cousin of cod with a similar flavor. These options are not only better for the environment, but can also help us manage our salt intake. Finally, but just as important, let's talk about Basa, a freshwater fish that's probably a go-to for many families because it's affordable and convenient. It's got soft, boneless meat that's easy to cook in all sorts of ways. However, there's something you might not know. Most of the Basa we buy in stores today comes from industrial fish farms, mainly in the Mekong Delta of Vietnam and some other Southeast Asian countries. In these places, the farming conditions sometimes aren't as carefully controlled as we might hope. One of the biggest concerns is the water quality in these farms. The water can be affected by household waste, fertilizers, and pesticides from nearby agricultural areas. In such environments, to keep the fish healthy and growing fast, the use of antibiotics and growth-promoting chemicals can happen. If you're interested in information that helps you and your loved ones make safer food choices, please consider subscribing to our channel so you don't miss our next insights. Even though many countries have pretty strict import controls, there's still a risk that some Basa might contain antibiotic residues above safe levels, which isn't good for our liver and kidneys, especially as we get older. On top of that, because of the low production costs and fast growth rate, farmed Basa often has significantly lower levels of omega-3s compared to wild-caught fish. So, eating fish without getting much of the heart-healthy benefits might not be the best choice anymore. To feel more secure, if possible, let's prioritize fish that comes from clear, well-inspected sources. Or we can look at other sea buddies like wild salmon or farmed cod from countries with high food safety standards. These options are both nutritious and safer for our health. You see, folks, not all fish are created equal, especially for our bodies as we've enjoyed a good number of years. Making smart and informed choices about what we eat is a way of taking good care of ourselves and protecting our health. I hope this chat has given you some helpful information to make the best decisions for your daily meals. Remember, health is our greatest wealth. Wishing you all good health and happiness.